All right, ho, ho, ho. It's time for the sustainable gifts portion of our annual holiday party. And it's holiday 2020. With us is Jen Elks from Sustainable Brands. Welcome, Jen. Happy holidays.
Thanks, Paul. Good to see you. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. And so this year you put together a sustainable gifts list for sustainable brands. Why did you do that? How'd you come up with that?
Well, I've been doing these, I realized, since 2013. Just as it's always fun at the end of the year to see what kind of cool products have come out, the cool sustainable recycled this and upcycled that. But this year, was such an extraordinary year. I had a different lens on it. I kind of, for those of us who, have the discretionary income to be buying gifts for people, I figured, why shouldn't they have an eye for things that, create extra value, whether for, the people they're giving them to or for other people, or, gifts that kind of reduce waste, et cetera. So that was kind of the lens that I had throughout putting everything together.
Super. No, that's super useful, and it'd be great to look through old year's lists as well. But
Yeah.
let's go through this year's list in 2020, and
Okay. I'll share my screen.
and as you talk through them, it'd be great to hear like what your criteria were, or what the benefits were to people or planet. Or
I should have been at the top. Yeah, so like I said, well, I should preface this by saying I'm also a big circular economy nerd. So I always am looking for, gift ideas for myself, to buy for other people that inherently have a, no waste component, or just have a cool upcycled material or something in them. So I'm always looking for those things anyway. But they do make great gift ideas for the guide. So I started off, well, and the overriding theme was sort of, after this year that we've all been through, most of us are stuck at home, with or without our families. And that just puts a whole different spin on how we're thinking about this end of the year and what might brighten our lives. So the first category was sort of personal care products. And yeah, as people sort of send me these ideas, certain ones come to mind, like earlier this year, maybe it was last year, Michelle Pfeiffer released her Henry Rose fragrances that are cradle to cradle certified. And so they're non-toxic and, total material health. And just like, I love products that are, created thoughtfully throughout the whole process. And so there's no negative side effects from anything in them. And, they happen to smell good. So, and this year they added hand sanitizers and stuff for the home. So I thought, what a perfect way to wrap those in there.
and any particular fragrances that are more organic than others, or more special?
I don't know that specifically,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
And
All
yeah,
right,
there's
so those are ways to smell, good for your senses,
yes,
and very
exactly.
thoughtful to be organic.
And then talking about, our various people's circumstances throughout the year and all years. When personal care products or any products, you can buy them, get something nice and yummy smelling for yourself, but also like help those in need, like the Right to Shower products from Unilever, help build mobile showers for the homeless, which, why not? Like I said, why not create extra value when you're giving gifts?
Right, and Unilever is committed to science-based targets on top of it, and so they're looking to reduce their greenhouse gas emissions over the coming decade dramatically.
Right. They're doing a lot of great stuff around plastic reduction and just like making their products themselves better. So I always like to, throw something in there from them if they've got something that really grabs my attention. So, and speaking of being stuck at home, which most of us have been, whether or not you're going to get fully dressed or just put something on for your Zoom meeting on top, new products that I've heard about this year were, excuse me, the Mono Air hoodie from Houdini Sportswear, which is like a completely circular garment that they've now open sourced the design of. So, any other company, large or small, can recreate this garment in zero waste, which I thought was very cool.
Yeah, that's quite amazing. There aren't many open source designs, and you would think that would give away some competitive advantage.
Right. And that's another thing that attracts me to various brands, is like, they're not just out to sell you the most of their products that they can. It's buy less of our stuff because it's better made, or here's how you can make it yourself, or, et cetera. Those are the kinds of companies I like to call out.
Great, great. And you just want to maximize your screen in the top right, and
Oh, I can do that.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, don't hit the X, just hit the square. The square. Yeah,
Ah, hold on one second. Apologies.
yeah,
You
no
can edit
problem.
this out, right? Oh boy.
Hold on, let me pause. All right, so we have the screen maximized.
Yep. Yeah, so I just kept with the theme of, us being stuck at home still probably for the indefinite future. And I've heard from a lot of people and companies, they're doing a lot of interior redesigns and just kind of refreshing of their spaces because they're spending so much extra time in there. So this chair in the picture actually is from a company called NoHo, and it's made from EcoNail, which is the plastic upcycled from fishing nets and another ocean plastic, which again, that just ticks off my circular economy box and makes me happy. So
Sure.
love that. And this model number is another company that not only are they upcycling, but they're upcycling from food waste, turning it into, they're like 3D printing furniture and home goods from upcycled food waste, was just so exciting for me.
So first you cook dinner and then you sit on your dinner.
Exactly. Yeah, and then just bamboo sheets because they use a lot less water to produce, et cetera. And bamboo is much more renewable than a lot of other fabrics that we use in our home textiles.
Okay, yeah, and bamboo so grows so fast and is pretty prevalent. So that can be a great feedstock for those types of items.
Sheets, and a lot of companies are incorporating that into clothing and other stuff. Yeah. Yeah, goes like sticking with the no waste theme. Maybe early this year, someone sent me a link to the No Waste Vegetable Cookbook, which I am a big home cook, and I know a lot of people have either become home cooks this year or gone back to cooking at home. And so why not, try and use, the carrot tops and everything that they're not used to using, just like better ways to kind of, again, if you have less of a budget this year, stretch it out further because you're not throwing away so much food when you're cooking.
Sure. Yeah. So we have carrot top pesto that my wife Gail and
Mhm.
I have
Yep.
made. So that's pretty great, especially when you combine it with any roasted vegetables, because we
Mhm.
get these piles of carrots from the weekly
Farmer
farmer's
Rock.
box.
Nice.
So yeah, we're excited to. I think we've ended up being like 80% vegetarian, and we debate whether we're like of that 20% vegan or 30% vegan, because of course we can't get rid of cheese,
Of
but
course.
definitely 80 to 90% vegetarian during COVID.
That's great though. Um, and I kind of just needed to leave this on the screen for a little while because this picture just cracks me up to no end. It's adorable and hilarious.
All right.
But this little pug is wearing a hoodie from a company that I recently discovered called House Dog, Dogge.
Uh-huh.
And like, again, it made with a lot of sustainable materials and stuff that's built to last longer, even the chew toys apparently. So I wanted to give a little shout out to them.
Great. A puggy hoodie.
Yep. For our, like I said, our four-legged family members who have been so supportive and probably made lockdown a little more bearable. Like my cat has definitely done that for me this year.
Yeah, well, our dog Coco, that is a rescue, a Jack Russell Rat Terrier rescue.
Nice.
Definitely make sure we get our steps for the day too. And
Yeah.
so, all right, now some people have kids, and so I'm sure they've been very creative during the year of new
Yes.
activities or maybe even teaching their kids. So
Right.
what
Whole
fits
other
for the
levels of
kids?
challenges around lockdown with kiddos to educate and entertain. And yeah. So yeah, this picture is actually from a company called Blimey Box that reached out to me recently. They create, it looks kind of like a toolbox, and parents just have to do a little bit of upfront prep to create the escape games that the kids then solve. It's like sort of scavenger hunts and math problems and little things that lead them on a trail to some kind of reward, which, I'm always, I don't have children of my own, but I like being, cool Tia Jen to my friends' kids. And I've always liked to give them gifts that like keep them thinking and keep them creative. So I liked this idea
And
too.
you're Tia Jen because you just got back from living in Argentina.
Well,
And
yes, but I was Tia
right.
Jen before to a lot of my friends, Latinx children before that. So just
Right.
continued the legacy.
Right. So
Now my
toys that
Spanish,
teach.
my
Toys
Spanish
that
is just a little bit better now. So
Okay. And kids like receiving toys where they can learn too.
yes, yes, yes. And I love, yeah, not just handing them a doll or something, but giving them something that can keep their wheels turning.
Great. Great. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, some books that I found out about throughout the year are really cool for that too. And especially um, on more of the social side, this book that I found out about maybe 2 weeks ago, Anti-Racist Baby, like how perfect and pertinent is that? And the younger that we start exposing our kids to, the different colors in the world, like all the better. So
Yeah, that's amazing. I can't wait to check that out. Especially since many fellow hipsters on the hip team have new kids who are, 1, 2, 3 years old already. And and then first book that was actually founded by an Ashoka fellow, Kyle Zimmer. So
nice.
I think we're going to get down to charitable giving, but if you're looking for social entrepreneurs that are changing systems and making our world better, Ashoka.org is not the Mandalorian Ashoka, but Ashoka.org.
Yeah, very cool. That was going to be the next thing I mentioned because, speaking of keeping, in the back of your mind or in the front of your mind, giving gifts that help others too. Donating to nonprofits like First Book is a great idea, especially for this year with a lot of kiddos who, their parents can't afford books or, they're still going to be stuck at home for the indefinite future. So,
Great.
Yeah, and again, computers are also a good thing to think about donating, whether old work computers or from your personal one, if you're going to upgrade, donating them to students who don't have the resources to do homework online at home would also be a
Yeah, and
great.
I guess not only computers, but maybe routers or Wi-Fi.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that there are organizations for that too. I only looked for the actual computers, but
Uh-huh.
I'm sure there are NGOs that are helping to funnel out everything that's in need right now.
Right. So another thing for our wish list is Wi-Fi accessible for all, so that kids can attend Zoom virtually. So, all right, I see we're getting down to imbibing, and
Yes.
on our holiday party here, we're encouraging everybody to imbibe safely. But what's on the imbibing list?
Well, again, a few like circular economy sort of nuggets that I've discovered. This one is Misadventure Vodka, which is made from upcycled baked goods. Another one, Wayward Spirit, that I found out about this year is made from whey, which is usually discarded in the milk making process.
Uh-huh.
Again, I just think both those things are so cool. Like, why not take all the materials we're never using and turn them into booze or something else,
Sure.
plastic, whatever, something.
Well, it's like
You know?
Little Miss Muffet, your curds and whey. So
Yep.
interesting that there's spirits around that.
And she doesn't care there's a spider next to her because she's tipsy. So, yeah, and a few other just very cool distilleries and cideries and brewers around the world are, just going out of their way to do like the most sustainable things that they can. And
Now,
I
if you
had
know, I see it's carbon negative brewer. Um, beer is frequently thought of as being pretty water intensive. Like um, for every we shouldn't say can of beer, glass of beer, there's like 4 to 10 glasses of water. Is there anything else about how these are made that you can share in terms of like circular economy?
off the top of my head, are you talking about BrewDog specifically or any of these?
Any of them?
Um, yeah, I don't remember specifically off the top of my head. I know like Ramborn Cider, for example, has planted and maintained a whole bunch of fruit groves for their own cider making, but also beyond, just to like, restore the area's biodiversity, because it used to be a big hub for cider making, in the early 20th century, I guess,
Uh-huh. Yep.
and probably before that, but it kind of fell by the wayside, and so did all the maintenance of the area's biodiversity. So they've been reviving all of that, which I think is great. Brewdog, I know, is doing a lot of things around renewable energy, and they're also making their workforce carbon negative. So they're offsetting all of their employees, all of their own emissions, and all of their employees' sort of footprints in various ways that I can't remember, but it's all in this story right here on Sustainable Brands.
Super, super. Yeah. And there's more details on sustainablebrands.com that you edit and facilitate and curate throughout the whole year. So there's thousands of articles on sustainability and circular economy and companies pursuing science-based targets. All right, Jen, what else is on the list?
All right. A very cool non-alcoholic option for those of us who don't want to be tipsy during the holidays or any other time. Well-grown and well-made non-alcoholic spirits from Seedlip. And for those of us who like CBD goods, which I have to be very careful with them, there's a whole, Charlotte's Web is a company that's been doing a lot, and they've put together these gift boxes for the holidays that are around almost anything you could think of recipient might want, like calm, sleep, recovery, a couple's box, that kind of thing. So
Got it.
nice
Understand.
to.
And
Here we
what's
have.
an upcycled gift? What does that mean?
That means one or more of the components of it used to be something else, and it's been turned into plastic or food. Like what I mentioned with the Misadventure vodka was once baked goods, and those have been kind of changed into vodka, so they don't just go to waste.
Got it.
So TBJ Gourmet takes the ends and pieces of like bacon as it's being processed. They usually get thrown away, which I was horrified to learn. And they turn that into a series of bacon jams, which are delicious. Regrained, speaking of brewers, if we were talking about before, Regrained takes spent brewery grains from the beer making process and turns them into snacks and protein bars.
And I believe Regrained founders are from Presidio Graduate School, which has a
Yeah.
sustainability MBA. So
Yeah.
good to see that coming to scaling up.
Yeah. Outcast Foods was another one I recently just discovered. They take a lot of the, ugly produce that doesn't often make it to markets. And now luckily a lot more of it is through, farm boxes, et cetera. But they turn them into plant-based supplement powders. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. All right. And then continuing.
Yes. Well, these are gift ideas that support various communities in need, whether it's, across the world or in your own community. Like I said, I always have an eye for what kind of gifts help more than just the recipient, so.
Sure.
I used to have one of these bottles from Companion that had a little code on it that you could scan every time you filled it up, and they would donate water to various communities in need around the world. So those are always a nice idea, especially since we're trying to cut down on single-use plastic. A lot of these other sites, either work to give their artisans fair wages for the gifts they create, or offset, plant trees for the emissions of some of the other gifts. Always, if you can, this year more than ever, but always, try and buy from small businesses in your community as much as possible. I know it's hard to go physically shopping, and a lot of smaller businesses may not be equipped to handle e-commerce, but as much as possible, try and do that.
They might even be willing to deliver if you call them up. So and drop them
Exactly.
off at your house. Yeah.
And support, businesses owned by people of color, whether in your community or around the country, around the world. They can always use extra support, especially in times of, economic downturn. So.
Great. Great. All right. There's a good comprehensive list. Is there anything else? Oh, look.
Yep. Now we're at the end, and I do have, like you said, links to some of our other ones. But yeah, just final thoughts were, again, just keeping in mind, when you're shopping, looking for things that are well made and meant to last versus something that, fast fashion that's going to fall apart after a few wears, or, any product that isn't made to last. And some of these companies here in the top paragraph either have mending services for their garments, or you can send them back once they're a little damaged. They will mend them and then resell them, which I think is always, a great sort of statement about a brand when they're going to do that.
Yeah,
Again,
it's so fantastic to think about, recapture back in the 90s started being the, full servicing of like copiers and printers in the European Union, which was mandated. So more large corporates are starting to think of, the full end-to-end, cradle-to-cradle value chain. So super. Well, Jen, thanks again for this awesome list of great gift ideas that there's still another week and a half before Christmas, or it's COVID, so Christmas may last for a while. It's also, we're finishing up Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, just kickstarting Kwanzaa. And of course, these could be New Year's gifts, or you could probably use this list for Valentine's gifts, right?
Yep, all year long. Well, thanks for having me, Paul. It was fun.
Yeah, delighted for you to be here. Go check out sustainablebrands.com. And Jen, thanks for curating such awesome content and ideas for building a better world together.
No problem. Thanks again.
All right, see
Take
you
care.
soon.
Happy holidays.